Once upon a time, there was a tall mountain in a vast desert. At the base of this mountain, a group of tiny mice lived in a cozy burrow. These mice were not only hardworking but also very smart. They had a special talent. They could dig tunnels that connected different parts of their home, making it safe and easy to travel even in harsh desert conditions. Their burrow was a marvel of engineering. It had winding passages, secret rooms, and storage areas filled with seeds and grains they had gathered from nearby plants. The mice worked tirelessly to keep their home in good shape, always preparing for any trouble that might come their way. One sunny day, everything changed. The sky, usually a brilliant blue, darkened unexpectedly as a fierce sandstorm swept across the desert. The wind howled, picking up sand and tossing it everywhere. The tiny mice huddled together in their burrow, hoping the storm would pass quickly. But the storm was relentless. Hours turned into a full day and the mice grew anxious. They had to venture out to find food and check on their surroundings. When the storm finally showed signs of slowing, the bravest mice decided it was time to investigate. As they emerged from their burrow, the mice saw a vast, new dune standing between them and their usual food supply. The wind had piled up the sand into a high, seemingly insurmountable barrier. The tiny mice were stuck on one side of the huge dune. They needed to get to the other side where food and safety awaited, but the sand was too deep and high for them to cross alone. The leader of the mice, a wise and experienced mouse named Mervyn, called everyone together for a meeting. "We must get to the other side," Mervyn said. "The storm has created a great challenge, but I know we can overcome it if we work together." The mice chattered nervously among themselves. "How can we possibly get through that enormous dune?" one young mouse named Milo asked. Mervyn smiled gently. "Remember, we are excellent diggers. We can create a tunnel through the dune, just like we do in our burrow. It will be hard work, but together we can make it." The mice agreed to Mervyn's plan. They formed a line, each mouse ready to play its part. They began to dig, using their tiny paws and sharp claws to move the sand. It was slow and tiring work, and the remnants of the storm still made things difficult. Sand kept pouring back into the tunnel, and the wind occasionally whipped up dust that made it hard to see and breathe. But the mice didn't give up. They took turns digging and resting, encouraging each other with every pawful of sand they removed. Milo, though young and inexperienced, worked harder than ever before, inspired by the determination of his fellow mice. As they dug deeper into the dune, the tunnel began to take shape. The mice used small sticks and leaves to shore up the walls and ceiling, making sure it was safe and stable. Hours passed, but their spirits remained high. They sang little songs to keep their morale up, and whenever someone grew tired, another mouse quickly took their place. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the mice saw light at the end of the tunnel. They had made it through to the other side of the dune. One by one, the mice emerged from the tunnel, blinking in the bright sunlight. They looked back at the tunnel they had created and felt a great sense of accomplishment. But their work wasn't done yet. The last mouse to cross was the tiniest of them all, a small and timid mouse named Mimi. She had been helping by carrying small grains of sand away from the diggers, but now it was her turn to cross the tunnel alone. Mimi was scared because she had never done anything like this before. Mervyn noticed her hesitation and walked over to her. "You can do it, Mimi," he said kindly. "We're all here to support you." With a deep breath, Mimi gathered her courage and stepped into the tunnel. Her heart pounded as she made her way through the narrow passage, but she kept moving forward, encouraged by the cheers and shouts of her friends waiting on the other side. When she finally emerged into the sunlight, the mice erupted in joyful squeaks, congratulating her on her bravery. As the last mouse reached the other side, the sandstorm finally subsided completely. The sky cleared, revealing a beautiful sunset that painted the desert in shades of orange and pink. The tiny mice looked back at the tunnel they had built and felt a great sense of pride and accomplishment. "We did it," Mervyn declared, his eyes shining with pride. "We showed that by working together we can overcome any obstacle, no matter how big or small." The mice celebrated their success with a feast, enjoying the food they had worked so hard to reach. As they sat together under the clear desert sky, they reflected on the importance of teamwork and unity. They had faced a great challenge and emerged stronger for it, knowing that they could rely on each other in times of need. And so, the mice lived happily near their tall mountain, their bonds of friendship and cooperation stronger than ever. They continued to improve their burrow, making it even more resilient and comfortable. Whenever they faced new challenges, they remembered the tunnel they had dug together and knew that with teamwork, they could conquer anything. The tiny mice had learned that together, they were strong, just like the tunnel they had built through the towering dune. And they lived contentedly, always ready to support one another, knowing that no storm could ever truly defeat them as long as they stood united.